Richard, thanks for joining me today in this beautiful place. You have an amazing story to tell. So let's start with, what was the trauma that happened years ago?
It was when I was a young boy, at age of 9, in 1972. I was struck by a drunk driver. I died for a couple of minutes, and when I woke up, I was paralyzed for many years.
How many years was it?
I started walking when I was 19 to 20 years old. I started taking my first step.
So between 9 and 19, you were in a chair.
Correct.
So there must have been some incredible things that happened during that time. How did you get yourself from the chair to standing and walking and having a life where you do pretty much what you want?
Never gave up, positive thinking, and it wasn't easy along the way. Many challenges, physical, and along the way I found many challenges, and yet I accomplished and conquered all of them by constructive thinking, affirmations that are positive, and never doubting anything that I believed in. Never.
What kind of spiritual practices did you start?
Making sure that I didn't say anything negative. Making sure that I didn't listen to anything that the doctors or anyone thought that I could not do.
For instance?
You're going to be paralyzed. You're never going to walk. You're never going to have kids. And the chances of you living are slim.
And you did all of those things. Walking, dancing, having kids, and 40 years later?
Yeah, all of that. To find out when I did come to a point where I picked myself up from the wheelchair and I was able to start stepping and walking on my own, found out that I had a blood transfusion, and back then they didn't really screen it, and so I got sick. And that was a challenge. And again, I did the same practices with the same mindset.
How did you use chanting, and did you talk to your body? What
I
did
talked
you
to
do?
my body. I loved my body. Instead of being angry, which you can't help in that position, frustrated because you can't walk or you have no chance of getting up and walking, I looked at the positive side of it, closed my eyes, and visualized myself doing everything that I desire. Everything. Until the point of just feeling that I was part of it. And that's how I did what I did.
Did you call on help from above, let's say?
Yes, I did call on help from above all the time. It was a ritual every day. Just like we eat and we shower every day, it was a ritual every day. I placed my hands to my body parts. I talk to them. I send them love. I just send them messages. And the more I did that, the more I got and received. And I knew that I tapped into something. I didn't share it with too many people because it was not something really you can talk about. You have to experience it, and which I did.
And now today, I understand you're studying Master SHA'S work, and how does that fit into the whole picture of being well and healed?
Well, Master SHA'S teachings, studies came to me, and I found out along the way what I was doing was exactly what he's teaching now, but now I understand the dynamics about it a lot finer because he puts in perspective. So what I was doing, I was spiritually guided because I had no teacher. It was divine inspiration in order for me to get from point A to point B, which I did, and defied all the doctors and defied medicine. Paralytic, doesn't really make it to a point if the doctors say you can't be. And I say, I refuse to hear that. I'm going to be. It took a while.
What are you excited about these days?
That I learned through positive thinking and determination, you can do anything.
You can do anything.
Anything. It might not be to the degree that you might think it is, but in whatever degree it is, on whatever level, it's still doing it.
Right.
You might not do it the way someone else does it. As long as you do it the way you want to do it, it's still being done.
Yeah. So they told you that your time was up and you weren't going to beat the odds, and you did. You went and you beat the odds.
Yeah. Also, I did beat the odds. I beat the odds several times also. Lifting myself up in the wheelchair, I thought the dilemma and everything was over and I can get on with my life. And I was having a pretty good life until I became sick and I didn't understand what was going on. So I had some testing done to find out that in the early stages of my getting into the accident, I was given some blood transfusion, which is bad blood. And I became very, very ill. And I only had a couple of months to live. I had cancer of the liver, first cirrhosis, it turned into cancer. I was marked to only live less than a year. And hepatitis C is no joke. It just hit, boom. I didn't know about it. All the heps I have. So I started to get my ritual. And I was scared for a while, and I became 98 pounds until I saw that I was losing it. I was dying. Until I decided not to fear anymore. And one day at the window, I said, I'm giving this up. You didn't lift me up to put me back down. And I felt a liberation. It was beautiful. And from that moment, months after, weeks after, it just got better and better and better. And today, still, they do testings and they can't find any trace of anything.
That is amazing. What are you most excited about today?
That I got the rest of my life. That no one tells me what's the time frame. And that I see that we make our lives by what we think, what we feel, what we dream of. It just, you make it happen by giving it thought, speaking about it on a positive level, and it just comes to happen. It just evolves.
And what's one thing you most want people to know?
You have to love yourself. It starts with that. I could have easily hated myself for being locked down on a wheelchair, not being able to express myself in the manner everyone did, being angry at the guy who struck me down and prevented me from having a normal life, as they say. But you have to love yourself. It starts like that, in whatever condition, in whatever way. And there's nothing and no one that can touch you. No circumstances that can bring you down if you love yourself. Because you're everything. And if you're here, you count. And if others can't see that, it doesn't matter. The most important person sees it. It's you.
How did you find out about Master Sha and the organization?
Through an advanced student of Master Sha. He gave me a bunch of books and I started reading them and doing the practices, and I was taken back by the actual events that were occurring. It was amazing. I put to practice all these decrees and mantras, and I'm going to tell you, the first night, the second night, I was already speaking my soul language. My legs were rising actually, from a position that no one can really raise their legs. And I have partially paralyzed on one side, so this leg was rising. And I was just amazed by it. That made me go at it a lot more and study it even further. Recently, I was accepted for Divine Healing Hands. And when I take that course, I'm going to put to practice more healing, because there's a lot more healing that needs to go on. And it just goes up and up, much better.
How do you use the forgiveness practice?
Forgiveness is constantly, every day, you have to forgive all those who did you wrong and you did wrong to them. It's just a forgiveness on everything. And most, you have to forgive yourself. And you have to ask for forgiveness from your ancestors, for anyone who's linked to you, and just forgiveness.
How does that help you in your life to do that?
To let go of the memory, the resentment, the anger, and it's a pain in the chest. It's not easy, but by daily practice, it becomes easy and you let go and you start seeing the changes occur. A smile comes back, a feeling of a refreshment, a shower, something that it's just, it's not easy, but it's something that can be done. It can be accomplished.
And what have you learned from all of this?
That the secret of life is to serve unconditionally. And that's my purpose, to serve unconditionally. My life mission is to do this practice and to be committed to it.
Thank you for telling your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
How?